Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Montreal Canadiens franchise mode. So in last episode we had the off season, and I think we did somewhat decently at the draft again. Not as good as prior years like the year before, because it was a weaker draft class by a mile. Like there was a 78 that went first overall, so it was definitely a weaker draft. But as you can see here in the system, we have a pretty good prospect pool, I think. As you can see with our top six forwards, we have a lot of top six forward prospects. We drafted this Lundstrom guy with our first, and then we also got this guy in the second round, I think it was, and then we also got Deschamps in the second round. So we got a lot of top six forward prospects down there. We got some top four defensemen. We got some top nines. So I think we have a good abundance of prospects, but obviously we do still need that number one guy. I know Lafreniere will probably be still that number one guy, even though he's still in the NHL. But I think we definitely need some other good pieces to build around, because currently our NHL roster is kind of getting on the older age part of 25. Our oldest guys are 30s and stuff like that. Like these kind of guys all the way up to, I'd say anybody that's like 27 and up. Those guys are all pretty much guys I wouldn't mind moving, maybe even Kotkaniemi to an extent. But everybody that's below that are guys that I wouldn't mind keeping for a bit. Some of them will probably be gone, but yeah, Cunning's going into his second season and he's only 19. Swift is a piece of this future for sure. Same with Ryder. Like I think Ryder could have a very good season and then be like a starter by next year. So Sepanen might be our backup next season potentially. But I think we're on the right path definitely to getting this rebuild out of this rebuild and then maybe into a contending spot within the next 2 to 3 seasons, my guess. So anyways, let's get this season simulated. We're probably going to go up to the trade deadline in this episode. We might do the entire season depending on the time of how long it takes to get through all this, but I wouldn't mind going as far as possible just because I want to see kind of how these young guys that we had last season play in their second season. Like Cunning should have a pretty good year again, because last season I think he had 21 points. He was like a plus 17 on the top four, which I was not expecting for a guy his age and his overall. So if he plays again like that in this season, we could make the playoffs. Like last year we kind of just barely made the playoffs. Who knows about this year? Like our goaltending combination is pretty weak, but you never know. Ryder could end up being a really good steal that plays really good as a backup. So we went 5-2 in the preseason, so that's not that bad. At least we're winning against the young guys. So let's go up to the first game of the season against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're playing in Pittsburgh for that one. And then we got a home game against LA, Pittsburgh again, and Detroit, and Winnipeg actually. So we got quite a bit of home games after this. Hopefully we could take advantage of those. So let's go to November the 1st and see if we could string together some wins here early in the season. Usually we start off the season really bad, like we go 0-3 and then we lose, or we win 3 games in a row or something like that. That's what happened the last few seasons. So we lost 3 games to start the season, 4 games, but there is a win over Winnipeg. Nice, 4-2. Like it seems like that's always how GMOs start, where you start horrendous and then you win a lot of games. But if we're tanking, I hope that there is a franchise player in the draft, because we looked at the draft class last episode, but obviously we don't know anything about them yet. But I still wouldn't mind a first overall pick. So yeah, we're listed as a rebuilder, so most likely we're going to be trading away Brady Shea at the trade deadline this year, just because we need the picks. And then we could call up somebody like Heatley or something instead. Because we are off to a really bad start, which is a good sign for this rebuild, at least if this is a good draft class, which I am hoping it is, because last year was really weak. Okay, so yeah, we are off to a horrific start, 2-7-3. I'm liking that. If we keep playing bad like this all season, this episode might be the entire season, just because, like I said, I wouldn't mind trading away Brady Shea if he's having a good season. So Kotkaniemi's got 9 points in 12 games. I think I only signed him again for another year. I wouldn't mind trading him away because he's got a lot of trade value and he might not want to come back to a team that's that bad. So I might not actually record next episode after this. I might just send him up to the trade deadline in this episode, and then you guys can let me know if we should move out Kotkaniemi or not, because I think we should probably do so. just because I feel like he could walk at the end of this season potentially. So let's continue assimilating, and hopefully we lose more games, but I hope that Ryder at least somewhat plays decently as backup, because he can completely jump the AHL. Like, he went from the WHL rate to the NHL, which is something not a lot of goalies do. So, but we are off to a really bad start, which means Sepanen is not a good starter. I was feeling like Sepanen would be more of a backup kind of guy anyways. So Salmelainen has been injured, so that's going to put a forward on defense, like Purcell probably. But yeah, we're off to a really bad start. We have a couple wins this month at least. There's a third win of the month, so at least we're playing better this month, it seems like. Yeah, we're definitely playing better this month. We've won 4 games in a row in 5 of our last 6. We lost to Buffalo, and then we beat Boston, so... we played better without Salmelainen in the lineup, which is kind of a weird thing. Okay. So Negrin, you're out of the lineup. I don't really like scratching Negrin because Negrin was a first round pick, but he's only got top 9 potential, so I feel like he's one of these guys that would play only till he's like 33 years old and be like an 81 or something. Like, he's nothing special. Okay, last 2 games of this month is a win and a loss, so we are 9-14-3, so we kind of fixed our early season mistakes, but we're still below 500 and still last in our division. Who's leading us in points now? It is Caulfield with 24 points in 26 games. That's interesting. We have 21 points, which currently puts us in like 3rd worst, I think. The Wild have a really bad season so far, so we aren't even doing the worst, but hopefully we could somehow get still number 1 if we fall or stay at like the 3rd worst, like number 29. So let's go another month. I know I'm kind of flying through this, but like I said, I kind of want to do as much as possible this season. And then we could look at potential trades for next episode. Like I said, Brady Shea is definitely somebody I wouldn't mind moving this year. And then also, Kotkaniemi is probably one I wouldn't mind moving, just based on his age and his potential and his trade value. So Gunler has been injured with a bruised arm. Let's go replace player. I mean, at least we managed to somehow bounce back a bit from our start, but we're still not doing that good. We've won 2 games in a row. There's 3 wins in a row. Kind of weird when the season, like, you lose a lot of games and then you all of a sudden win a lot of games, even if you are a bad team. Like, it seems like the game likes to keep you close to 500 to an extent, and then you eventually go on a losing streak where you miss the playoffs. So Negrin, we're taking you back out, and that will put back in Noel Gunler. And there you go. So Peltier's up to an 84 now. So yeah, he's having a really good season. But he's really bad defensively always, it seems like. JFK is scoring a lot of goals as always. Morgan Frost is playing pretty good, so that second line has been contributing. That top line's been pretty solid as well. So I think we're scoring a lot of goals. We're just giving up too much. Cunning's a +4 still. And he's got 12 points. So that's not too bad, considering he's 19 and he's still a plus, even though his team has been letting in a lot of goals. Yeah, I've been impressed with him to an extent. Salmelainen, though, is a -11, and then Zimmerman is a -5. So yeah, that top 6 pairing is probably the main problem, or the top pairing. I should actually reunite the Carsons together again. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that, just because the 2 Carsons always seem to be pretty good together. Sepanen's been not that good. 11, wait, what did it say his record is? 11-15-3. How about Ryder? Yeah, Ryder's off to a slow start, but I didn't expect him to be that good as a 79. Hopefully he's better next season. Like, he'll probably be the starter next year. That's my guess, at least. Just because I think he'll be higher than an 82. But we are winning some games this month, so at least it seems like we're kind of... like, we're not that horrendous of a team, because if we could score a lot of goals, but we're just one of those teams that need to start finding a way to keep the puck out of the net. So once Ryder grows to being his elite potential, we should be way better defensively. So 15-22-3, and we've passed the Sens in the standings. Let's go another month. And then we'll go right up to the trade deadline, take a look at what's on the block, and then I will also, we'll see if I can find any trades for Brady Shea and for maybe even Kotkaniemi. Like I said, Kotkaniemi is kind of a wild card, but I feel like he will leave the team this offseason if we don't trade him away this year. Because I don't know if he's going to want to come back to a team that's doing this bad. Like, it's a hard thing to move Kotkaniemi because he's so good, like, in terms of overall, in terms of potential and all that, but we do have some young guys down there that could take over his spot. And then also Kotkaniemi is not really worth his contract sometimes. Like last season, I think he only put up 50-something points. Last 2 games of this month of January, and we're now 19-29-4. Yeah, this team is definitely still struggling, which is good. If this is a good draft class, which we should check actually soon. We got 42 points, which is second worst in our division, and it is one of the worst in the league. The worst is still Minnesota with only 30 points through 51 games. Let's take a look at that draft class quickly. Hopefully there's a franchise guy, please. Nope, it's an elite guy. And that's the Sapanen guy that's looking like he's going number 1. Like a Patrick Kane. Either way, we would get a nice elite player to help like with the offense, I think, a bit more. Because there's no defenseman that's supposed to go till Sloan. Okay. So, yeah, do we want to trade sim right up to the trade deadline? No, you know what? We're not going to sim right to the trade deadline. We're pretty close anyways. Let's take a look at who's been doing what for us so far this season and see where we're struggling. And then, like I said, we'll look for some potential trades for next episode for Brady Shea and for Kotkaniemi, I think. So we're currently one of the worst in the league. St. Louis is number 1. We don't have their pick this year because we had it the last 2 seasons, but not this year, which is fine because they're the defending Stanley Cup champions. So yeah, we're 3rd worst in the entire league. Okay. Goals for, we are scoring 2.96, so we're not scoring a whole lot, and we're allowing quite a bit. Yeah, we're one of the worst defensive teams. Okay. Power play percentage is really bad, looks like, as well, and penalty kill is not as bad as it looks. Yeah, penalty kill is really good, but everything else is not that good. Interesting. Okay. Let's take a look at those player stats so far for the season. So Lafreniere's got 47 points. Okay, so we're getting some, like a lot of offense, it seems like, from our top guys, at least on that top line. But then after the second line, it kind of falls back quite a bit. Like JFK could be putting up more assists, but he's only scoring, it seems like. Cunning's got 15 points. He's only -2 now, but still 15 points. He's still a solid defenseman, it seems like, for his overall. Swift has 10 points in his first season, only a -3. So the fourth line's actually been pretty good defensively. Nagurn was a +7 and had 5 points as a depth guy, so maybe he plays actually in a lineup instead of somebody like Gellner. I don't know if we want to trade away Gellner. Maybe. Goalie-wise, both goalies have been struggling, which is not a surprise because they're overalls. Okay. So let's take a look at potential trades now, because I think Brady Shea is definitely one of those guys we should move out. And then we could call up Heatley from the AHL. So let's find some trades, see if we can find anything for Brady Shea. So Shea still has a good chunk of trade value, surprisingly. So we'll see if we can find a trade, and no trades found. So nobody's interested in Brady Shea, it's saying, Well, I can still look and see if we could get a first for him. How about let's remove him. Oh, maybe it's because of his contract for the 1 year. Like, maybe if I had to pick, somebody would look for him. We'll see that in a sec. But Kotkaniemi, he's down to an 84. Yeah, he needs to be dealt. He's dropping in overall because of the team's production, I think. Recent performance, let me guess. Yeah, recent performance has been dragging him down a bit. So he definitely, I think, needs to be dealt. Nobody's looking for him either. That's weird. Oh, maybe it's because of what I have on my trading block. Let's go to edit trading block. And let's get rid of what I want. because I feel like it's based on what the computer put I want. So let's just remove these and see if we could actually get some trade offers, because maybe that's holding it back a bit. So Kakiniemi, let's see if we can find a deal for you. Still nobody. We could still look at potential trades for Kakiniemi, see who's interested in him. And in Brady Shea, can we find any offers for him yet? Nope. That's weird. That trade feature doesn't seem to work that well as I was hoping it would. So let's go to propose a trade, just see who would be interested in those two guys. So let's just add them both to the trade right now, even though we're not going to trade both of them. So Kakiniemi and Shea, who's interested in these guys? So Arizona's interested in both, but they beat over cap by $5 million. Interesting. Seems like a lot of guys like both of them. So we could probably fetch something pretty big in return if we wanted to package the both of them together. But we'd have to find a team that wouldn't be over cap space, really. Like Detroit. Wow, Detroit's listed as a contender and they're that much under cap space. That's interesting. So they would take both of them. So we'd have to take back, obviously, their first for this year. And then we could probably, I'd have to take some skaters back. I'm not going to make that trade this episode, but I'm just seeing what we could potentially get. So I don't really think we need any of those guys. This Beck guy might be enticing, even though he's not got a lot of trade value. They want to give him up as well, so let's add him to the deal. Who else do we want from Detroit? I don't want to steal everything from them because I feel like it would be unfair. Center-wise, don't really have anything else. But definitely we could snag up a lot of other stuff probably from them. Yeah, I have some good goalie prospects, but we don't really need goalie prospects. We have a lot of AHL goalies, so like if we took this guy, we'd be under the salary cap, so we'd have to retain some money on these guys by probably a bit. Let's like say if we retained 1.15, we'd still be under cap. I don't even know if these trades would make sense really, but I'm just saying $2 million still under cap. Damn. Yeah, that's the only problem about trading both of them away is we'd be under cap probably. Because I'm almost retaining 50%, yet we're still under cap. But yeah, so if you guys think of any trades potentially for Kakiniemi and Shea, let me know, because I do think both those guys need to go. And then we could end up playing somebody like Negrin can play in the lineup for the offense. And then we could call up Heatley from the AHL, because I think Heatley's probably going to be a top 6 defenseman soon. Let's actually take a look at the AHL points. So Hillman's doing pretty well. Looks like the AHL team might actually be having a somewhat okay season. Strome, wow, 28 points, nice. How about defense? So Heatley is already almost at top 6, yeah, so we could call up Heatley in replacement. He's having a pretty good year down there, 18 points, only a -3. So yeah, that's that. Rene's up to a 75, so he is growing this year, which is good. I was hoping he'd grow more. And Yashin's a 76, so we do have some good AHL guys that could end up coming up in the lineup if we decide to trade away Brady Shea, which I do think would be a smart thing to do, as well as Brandon Montour even, for example, because he has 1 year left. Like, just kind of like make this defensive core even weaker than it is currently, and then keep these 4 guys together, because obviously those guys are younger and more part of our future. So that is that, and I think that's all I wanted to check. Let's actually take a look at progress reports quickly, even though it doesn't really matter. I just want to see if there's anybody that's been growing that is not in the AHL right now, like any of our draft prospects, like our top 6 forward guys. So yeah, Hibbard's growing, XLP's growing, Perot's growing. Yeah, we're getting some growth. Let's actually go by current overall. So apparently Oli Rene didn't grow at all, but he's a 75 now, which is good. Any growth from Ryder? He has some growth. Okay. So anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of our Montreal Canadiens franchise mode. So in next episode, we will probably make a couple big trades and make this team even weaker as we look to kind of still add a bit more pieces to our rebuild, like probably getting some picks for Kotkaniemi and some good prospects, and then also trading away Brady Shea, calling up Heatley. So we have kind of a younger squad, even more so than we are already. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.